What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Bound by Books, Love Stories Beyond the Pages, where the stories get steamy, the conversations get real, and yeah, we're definitely going beyond the pages. Welcome back, everyone, to Love Stories Beyond the Pages. I'm DJ.
I'm Sydney.
And I'm Nadine.
Real quick, before we jump into the episode, just kind of wanted to talk about some stuff that's going on. We finally did the drawing for the giveaway, and that was really cool. A lot of people were happy about that. So last episode, we talked about some of the dark romance and what was problematic, and we found out that not too much of it was problematic. Today, we're talking about the books that didn't just entertain us, they awakened something in us. So, first question is have you ever read a book and you had to sit there and just be like, yeah, I don't think I'm the same after that?
All of mine are a little fucked up. So yeah, like Den of Vipers torture scene kind of, well, not torture, but the dungeon scene kind of fucked me up, and I was like, well, that's kind of hot.
Was that the one with the femur?
No, I have two of those. One is caution tape, and the other one was I Will Break You, I Will Mend You by Gigi Sticks. Those are both. They both have femurs in it. Den of Vipers is the one, I think I told you about it, but it's he's railing her from behind and sticks the handle of a knife in her and then stabs himself repeatedly. He makes himself a human shish kebab.
That's right. Yep. I remember that now.
That one I literally stopped for a minute and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm not mad at it.
I mean, I don't understand like that. They just talking about that. How is that even pleasurable?
For her, probably wonderfully. Both, I don't even like the word, but I'll say it. Both orifices were filled. For him, he was a sadist. No, he was a masochist. So he got off on pain. So repeatedly stabbing himself, and he was kind of psychotic, honestly.
I mean, at some point in time, that becomes unbearable for somebody. I don't care how much you like pain.
She sewed him up. It was fine. They got their jollies rocked, and she sewed him up.
Okay, Nadine.
I touched on it a little bit last week. However, I mentioned that I'm in the middle of reading The Sinner and the gun scene in the first part of the book. And then after reading Haunting Adeline, something about the gun scenes are just makes you question your morals.
Yep. Okay. Now, Lord series, you want to know which one questioned my morals? And it's in almost every single one now. Riot branding her. Oh, man.
Didn't you say you wanted that, though?
I do. I 100% will willingly accept that fate in my life. That did something for me.
First, and then you were like,
I was like, I read it and I was like, well, this is kind of fucked up. And then I was like, okay, but I get it.
I'm not totally against it.
And I was like, I'll do it. I'm down. Everything one time. Let's go. But and then like throughout the whole entire Lord series, and then like with the Spade brothers, there's branding throughout like a couple of the books, and I'm just like, I love it so much, and I don't know why.
So would that one be a emotional awakening, physical awakening, or a mental awakening, or all three?
Because like a branding is literal sign of ownership, and I didn't realize that was an ownership I would be okay with declarating.
What about the gun scenes for you, Nadine?
I'd have to say I'm into it.
So you would be down, like
unloaded him.
Very question.
I'm trying to be polite here, but at the same time, I'm like, okay.
I know, sounds crazy, but
she's about on the same level as I am. Try everything at least.
I would like to argue that people have put other things, and I don't think I want to take any kind of chances. That's just not what I want my obituary to say. It would be used in like the arguments of why dark romance is just not good for the book community.
True.
But to be fair, I feel like I've heard of people putting much worse things.
Yeah,
for legal purposes, it would be a toy gun.
Yes.
I don't know why you keep saying for legal purposes.
Because you never know, man.
There's nothing illegal with masturbating with a gun. I mean, just saying. It's a little weird, but
I mean,
again, like I said, I've seen
it'd be
weirder.
someone else doing it.
Well, yeah, but I've definitely seen and heard of weirder things in orifices.
Hate them so fucking much. I don't even know why I started it.
So I think for me, mine was, and it wasn't lights out. It was Speak.
Hold on. Which one?
Huh?
Which of the men? Because this is going to say a lot about you.
The what was he? Her psychiatrist. And that one threw me out because of what he do, what he's supposed to be, and how he
Yeah, the taboo side of it. Yeah.
yeah, and it was just like holy, okay, this is different, and this is where it gets to the point of was it good or was it that changed me? And I think it changed me a little bit as far as what to expect in the books. Don't ever expect. I guess
Normalcy.
expect the unexpected.
Don't expect normalcy. Like
Yeah.
what people typically expect of doctor-client privilege.
I
Yeah.
think we need to elaborate because that is one of the books I haven't read.
So I got this. So without going too much into detail, she has something happen to her in the beginning of the book that basically she goes mute, but it causes her to she gets locked in a mental institution for a while.
I think it's 5 years.
And he gets infatuated with her very much so
Okay.
to the that when she goes home, he has cameras placed in her room so he can watch her air bunny.
It's so good, and that needs to be your next read. I'm just saying, like
Yeah.
that.
It is very good. When I like me and Sydney both said last week, the beginning of it, you're just like, what the fuck?
Chokehold.
I'm gonna have to put it on my list.
But as it goes along, you're like, oh my gosh. And then it's like, okay, that was okay. I did all right.
And it's a wide.
Yes, it is a very.
If you do it on audio, you'll love it because it's Corvin King and Joe Arden, I believe, are the two male. There's another one, but I think one of them duplicates, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he does too, but yeah, it was very.
You should do it. So you haven't read Hayden's book for the Spade Brothers?
No. Yeah, I'm still on Senate.
Joe Arden.
I love Joe Arden.
Yeah, he does all of the male characters in the book.
I'm thinking of the Unhinged series by Steph Macca. So the Hayden's story is also going to be kind of psychiatrist and patient.
Ooh, I heard Hayden's is really good. I've noticed a lot of people put him at the top of the list of their favorites. Because he's with they're like the prison ones, right?
Yeah, they're the bad. Like you have the Lords and then you have the Spade Brothers. So the Lords are bad. The Spade Brothers are where they take bad Lords.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're the ones that torture the Lords fucked up.
Yeah, because I don't think I've gotten anywhere in the books where they talk about the Spade Brothers yet.
You're in Sins, so you should be learning about them, and that's that book.
Hell yeah.
See, this is where I find these books can be a safe space to explore your curiosity. Like looking at some of the WTF section of the book club and the one that Mary Beth and I posted today of the
Centennial objects.
Yeah. Well, what it was though is we started reading like the what's it called? The like description of the book. And it was like, okay, this is kind of weird, but at the same time, I'm kind of curious to read this now.
So these are the ones that the What the Fuck books are the ones that I make. Like I want Courtney to read all the time. Papa, I want her to read every single one and give me her reviews. Like she's the reason she read Get in My Swamp is because I forced her to.
Was that the Shrek?
She has the best reviews too. The way she goes into detail is just so good.
Get in My Swamp is a Shrek based.
When was the first time a book made you pause and think differently?
Oh,
Like in what aspect?
I don't know, just in general, I guess.
Made me think differently. I mean, all of them make me think differently.
You can tell me that you like book and go, I'm going to start reading about the stand mixer making me come. Like
I've never read a Centennial Object book. I just make people read them. Their version of it. But I did tell Courtney she can get with everybody in the book club since I've been forcing her so much that she can pick one Centennial book and I will read it.
Ooh, we should put it to a poll.
Yeah, go to her. I think she forgot all about it too. So y'all can go to her and figure it out.
And she loves polls. It'll be perfect for her.
Yeah, I did tell her because I keep forcing her. for Valentine's Day, the scratcher, I put another one on there, and it was something by the Lint Trap Monster.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
But she
gosh.
read so it was that Fucked by the Lint Trap Monster or something like that, and she read it. So after her, like, 3rd what the fuck book that I recommended, she's like, "You have to read one of these." And I'm like, "Okay, fine, you can pick one. You can get everybody and you can pick one."
So what do you think would make a moment feel like an awakening versus just like a good scene from the book?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like an awakening for yourself or for the character?
For yourself. Like
I
the
mean
brand, like what, like the branding was an awakening for you, correct?
I've always liked ownership, but it's one of those, like, I never saw myself in that type. Like, collars are a form of ownership. I've been okay with doing that. Branding is, like, significant ownership.
Mm,
But that was
that's
like,
another level of commitment.
you never
Yeah.
thought about that until you read it and you're like, okay, that's something I'm into.
I also hadn't been as traumatized in my previous time when I thought about ownership until just recently. So that also might have a factor into it about past experiences, awaken something different as well as the books. Like, I think it all cultivated at one time with the branding scene that I was like, I'm fucked up from past. And then I was like,
At least you
it's
admit
not
it.
good. I am the one that titled us as an unhinged feral group, okay? But you're somewhat fucked up. I just own it, and I'm very proud to be weird.
To be fair, there's that argument to it. It's like if you're reading some of these books, you have to be a little fucked up in the head.
Yeah. I don't know. So I think like Marrow with Trisha Wolfe and Bren Weaver kind of solidified my liking for Somnophilia because I don't think you ever read it yet. So context for it if you're interested. I know she is because she saw the cover and it was really pretty. So it is 2 serial killers who are trying to pin a murder on each other. Like one of them kills this person and then they're trying to pin a murder on each other. But one of the serial killers, he has like I don't want to say a necrophancy, but he is very cold body.
Oh.
Like one of those. So there is a scene where she lets him drug her in a special room in his house and do whatever he wants to her. Like, she lets him do whatever he wants. And that one I was like, okay, I definitely have a somnophilia kink. 100%. 100%. Yeah, that solidified that. I mean, there was a lot of
that was an awakening for you.
I think it was more of a solidification because, like I said, I've been into a lot of stuff. I just solidified like the way that it's written and described and all that stuff. Like they're doing their research. Most of them are. Most of the authors are doing their research on the topics they're writing about, and I think it just solidified the fact that that was a thing. I think it's more of that. I don't think I've ever read a book where I just like, yeah, absolutely. Besides the branding, and I mean, who doesn't like a good branding, right?
I mean, I'm not down for that.
You don't know. You never read it or tried it.
Look, the closest thing I'm going to get to branding is a tattoo. I'm sorry.
Okay, but Nadine can admit this. The scene with Riot branding her.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
You're going
Like
to make me. Like, I stopped reading this series just because I didn't care for it. You're going to make me read it.
It's so good.
Really is, and they get progressively better. Like I 100% will tell you that if you're into that, like you are a rom-com dude. So like for you want the humor and the banter, and like yeah, the Lord series doesn't have a lot of banter, clearly, but
It's definitely on the more serious side.
don't pass up a good book because you're being selective on a specific genre.
Okay.
Because the plot lines plot hard in those fucking books, like hard.
Okay.
But yeah, the branding scene is really hot, and context, the branding is his initiation ring. He gets it really hot and then brands her. So it's not like a giant brand. If that's what you're thinking, it's literally like the size of one of those like alumni rings.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not like, because I feel like some people, you think of branding, you're thinking of like cow branding. Yeah, like a big ass. But no, it was super teeny tiny.
I will say the big branding comes into play in the Spade Brothers because their brand emblem is just kind of like big letter 666.
Wow.
Right on people's. There's that context. Like, don't think of Yellowstone branding. It's not like a giant fucking Y on somebody's chest. Like, she gets this tiny little ring branded on her skin.
So do you think people realize it in the moment or after they read the book? Like, in the middle of the scene, like, oh my gosh, this is awesome, or this is something I'm interested in?
I think it's
Or do you think that after
I
they
think
read,
it's a little bit of both.
You know that meme where she's, like, looking at it and questioning if she likes it, and then nods and's like, "Yeah," and then questions it again, and then she's like, "Oh, yeah, I guess." You know that little meme?
yeah,
Oh, the kombucha?
I'm pretty sure that's how it's pictured when anybody reads something that they think is hot. They're like, "Yeah, no, that sounds like the femur thing in caution tape." Imma tell you right now, in the moment, I was concerned. Or I sat with it for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. I was like, "That's kinda hot, though." I'm just saying. So, like, it's a it's one of those things that you're just like,
well, it's like the cookies and cream scene in Butcher and Blackbird.
"This is the funniest shit in the world." I
It
laughed so
is.
fucking hard.
It is. But at the same time, you're like, ew. But then you get past it and you're like, hey, that's funny. But
So, funnier enough with that, the cookies and cream I wasn't grossed out about. It was her referencing maggots as orzos or whatever the fuck it is.
Mm.
Like, I was grossed out by that. I wasn't grossed out by the cookies and cream.
that whole scene was great though in that book.
Yeah,
I will
absolutely.
I will give that to Bren. Like that is one thing that she does so good in all three of those books is the food implementation into all of it.
Another one that does good food implementation and kind of ruins food for people is Lauren Beale, just so you know. She does have if you like Hitchhiker series, she has a whole Hitchhiker series. But she also has some dark rom-coms where she does implement food in ways that food probably shouldn't be implemented. So I think you would be a fan of that side of it.
Coming back to your question, though, like, is it in the moment or is it, like, an accumulation? I think for me, in the sense of, like, I read Haunting Adeline, and I was like, "Okay, the gun scene's a little concerning." I was like, "Eh." And then you keep going, and you read more and more, and then in Lights Out, they do the knife scene, and I'm like, maybe it's just, like, the danger aspect. And then you're like, it starts to grow on you.
Right.
Whereas some of them, you read them and you're like, "Oh, this is hot." But then others, you're like, the more and more you read of it.
I think more people are okay with the normalcy of, like, kinks that are in books. So, like, the tying up, the handcuff, the pinning against walls, the spitting in the mouth, all that stuff. I think they're more content reading about that than they are about reading objects that should not be entered in places.
Purposes.
Yeah.
I think
Which is crazy now because what I would consider vanilla now is what some people consider more
Kinky.
intense. Yes. So, like,
to me,
the spit scene in The Ritual, I remember reading the reviews for it and people being like, "This is disgusting, da da da." And I got to it and I was like, "What do you mean?"
so
I was like,
This is kind of hot.
little degradation is top tier if you like it a certain way. Spitting,
yeah.
tier. Little face slaps, top tier. For me, words, don't call me a whore. I'll fucking throw punch you. Okay?
No, just beat the shit out of
Yeah.
me. You're fine with that.
Yeah. Just beat the shit out of me. I'm crossing the line at whore.
But, like, I understand what she's getting at because, like, to me, restraints, like rope scenes, I love when a good shibari scene is brought into a book. I
Mhm.
love when a restraint scene is brought into the book. To me, that's vanilla. Like, that's just basic every day, right?
Yeah. And that's where the line blurs.
Apparently, that's not to everybody.
No, there's definitely that line because it's like it's everyone's preference to and what they're comfortable with.
Mhm.
So it's when you say vanilla's different to every single person.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own boundaries. We have to respect that.
Everything shy
Mm.
beat ass beat is vanilla to Sydney.
Okay, I didn't say getting my ass. Well, like, fuck you, DJ.
Don't
Okay,
try me.
I told you one time. The literal context of that statement. I told you one time.
No, it was more of don't call the cops. I wanted this.
I did. 100% got my ass bruised with a fucking paddle. And I told DJ, and DJ goes, "Are you safe?" And I was like, "I wanted this. I am not in danger to myself or others." Okay?
And that's another thing is like when you bring partners into it, it's like your vanilla versus their vanilla or what you're comfortable with and what they're comfortable with. It's like beat the shit out of me. And then some people are going to be like, how?
I want,
Or like,
with the
So
actual context, I don't actually want the shit beat out of me.
Yeah, when we say beat the shit out of me, it's obviously I don't want to fucking have 2 black eyes and walk in with a limp.
I know, but DJ keeps saying that I have no boundaries. I don't want the actual shit. You know?
I mean, Sydney's okay with walking with a limp. Just don't give her 2 black eyes.
Absolutely. I'm good with
I meant like a bad limp, not a good limp.
I mean,
I'm good with bruises, not broken bones, okay?
okay, we'll drop.
But that goes back into what we were talking about the last podcast is that, last and first, communication is the biggest step in any kind of BDSM relationship. And it goes back to the thing with your stories. Like vanilla, yes, maybe certain things may be vanilla to me, may not be to DJ, to Nadine, right? But it all comes down to communication with their partners of what they're good with and what each partner is okay with doing.
I will say though too is the exploring with your partner, like doing with your partner it's fun because you get to find out each other.
Really
Where especially like I hate to say it, like God forbid something happened between me and the wife, is somebody going to be okay with stuff that me and her were okay with?
If something
Do
happens,
I have to go back into, you know, teaching somebody what what I like or things like that? So
There's also that level of comfortability. So if you're not comfortable enough with that person to be able to communicate those things,
yeah,
sometimes it's needing to find that person you're comfortable with to do that stuff with.
I also will highly stand on this statement that if you are uncomfortable communicating with your partner, you do not need to be in a relationship with them.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like if you are 100% worried that you will come off a little weird, like I told DJ the very first episode, I had got my ropes with one of my with one of my first, I don't want to say first, but like not my recent ex, but the ex before that. I got ropes, leg restraints and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to do this. And he literally was like, why? You have me. I wasn't nervous of bringing it to his attention, but did he last long after I brought it to his attention of what I wanted? Oh, okay, bye.
I would almost argue that's like an insecure thing. Like, am I not enough? You have to add these other things.
Well, there's a lot of factors into that situation that just that like solidified it for me that it was not gonna work out.
No, fair.
During that episode of there's how people are raised.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Growing up, you don't hit women, and then it's like spank me, choke me, slap me, things like, and you're just like, what? Okay, and it's how can you get over that? What's the word I'm looking for? That
hurdle.
Yeah, per se. That wiring. That's what I was looking for. The wiring of your brain.
Oh, yes.
Can you rewire your brain to be able to do that? I think you can if you want to.
You can, absolutely.
I think it's definitely about boundaries too. It's like, this is okay in the bedroom. Like, I want you to hit and slap me in the bedroom. I don't want you to hit and slap me while we're cooking dinner.
Yeah.
And having a normal conversation.
So you pivoted into a great example because my partner, the very first time that we did paddle spanking and stuff like that together, he was raised and he is morally grounded and to the point where you don't hit the person you love, right? He's morally grounded into that. You don't hit the person you love or you want to protect. So he, as a dom, and in that scenario, had to work with his boundaries to be okay to do it because he knows he's not hurting me because masochist, hello. And we openly communicated about safe wording out. Like we've established that from very early on that safe words were in place. But he had to work through his hurdles. And there is such thing as a dom drop and a sub drop. Like those are actual terms in BDSM. And if you're in a dom sub dynamic and it's the aftercare is real in those situations. So after everything was done and we knew the scene was over, 'cause I don't call it scenes because it's like a real life situation for me. And I'm not playing out a scene. Like it's just what happened in the moment. Like we're not setting up the scene like a lot of dom subs do. But after the moment, you had to make sure that each person was okay with what happened. And I had to check in his mental health because it was a boundary that he tiptoed to. He didn't fully cross it for himself, but he, like he had to tiptoe that line. And I told him, I said, if you're ever uncomfortable, you don't have to do it. Like you don't have to do anything you're uncomfortable with to please me. Like, that's not how this works. And I said, I hope you know that the same is for me. And he was like, absolutely. So it is a hurdle that most people have to cross if they're uncomfortable with it. But if you have open communication and you guys are willing to talk it out and you have set boundaries in place, like we previously talked about his boundaries and mine. So once those boundaries were set in place, I was like, if you're down for it, we could do it. If not, I'm not going to push you into it. This is going to be something that you do on your term when you're okay with it.
That sounds great.
Right? Told you entered a great segue for that one. But yes, it's a boundary you have to, all parties have to be willing to cross, but you also have to communicate.
Do you think a partner who's kind of iffy in the beginning to cross it can fully cross it, or do you think it's like they have to be gung-ho from the get-go?
No, they can be iffy. You can be on the fence about it because no one's gonna like up and be like, I'm gonna switch my boundaries for this person. And if they do, that's a problem.
Yeah.
If you're willing to outright lose your own boundaries in the process of making somebody else happy, that's a problem.
There's that argument too then. Was it really a boundary then, or was it... Because if you were so quickly to switch...
Yeah.
I mean, I think it could. I think it could be a boundary to begin with, and I mean,
I think you can ease into it.
Well, take the books for example. There could be somebody could have a boundary, and then they read something in the book, and they're like, maybe that's something I can get into. And a question I have: do you think people feel safer exploring things through books first?
Absolutely.
%. I think it's definitely like a gateway into finding. I think I touched on it a little in the last episode, but a lot of these things aren't in your normal life. A lot of people aren't so easy to talk about sex with and kinks with. So I feel like being able to read a book and feel heard or understood or find out what you like from it is definitely a gateway into exploring it more and realizing, there's people that like this stuff.
Sid, do you think that it's easier to talk to people in the BDSM, taboo community about this kind of stuff versus like going on Tinder and, finding somebody that you think's hot and then trying to talk to them about it?
It's like 50-50 because like I told you, I think the first episode, BDSM community is a little bit more inclusive, so they're more willing to talk about your ground rules. A lot of people don't put on their social media or their dating profiles that they are a dom, a sub, a master, a slave, whatever the case may be, whatever the dynamic you enjoy, right? You don't see that. I mean, don't look at mine because clearly it'll tell you that, but you don't normally see it on social media, right?
Your Discord profile says you're a brat.
Yeah, absolutely, because I am, and I want people fully aware that they're gonna get fucking bullied, okay? You don't normally see it, right? The big stigma right now with BDSM being a little bit more mainstream, like going back into mainstream, is that you have people who think they're doms and they're not. They're called, in the community, it's called a fake dom. And it's, to me, that's like red flag material because that's just somebody who wants to, I don't want to say intimidate, but like control situations and not listen to boundaries or consent, stuff like that. So it's 50-50 on, you have to find somebody who has research or is willing to communicate. And usually you can suss them out whenever, like, if someone brings it to your attention, you're like, oh, hey, why do you think you're a dom? Type of dom do you think you are? Stuff like that. And if you're well versed in it, you can usually suss them out. Big time is if somebody claims that they're a dom or a sub, you ask boundaries straight up. If a dom says that I don't have any boundaries, you're not a true dom. Almost every person in the BDSM community has some kind of boundary. Whether they've figured it out fully yet or not, there's always at least a base boundary that they are not going to cross. Like,
Again,
at least something.
I think that goes back to that, fake dom of, I just want to control everything about our life. And that's not BDSM, that's domestic violence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, narcissism.
And like even in like dominant, submissive, master, slave roles, there's a consent, there's a blanket consent, and like if you're doing a full 24/7 dom submissive role, you're looking more at like a traditional stance relationship where she doesn't work, she stays at home, she does this, she does that, but there's set rules in place. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are both willing to accept these terms. A big thing that I tell anybody who's wanting to try out something and they don't have a partner to do it with, make a contract with somebody. Like, 100% make a contract stating, hey, these are my boundaries and I want you to sign it. Like,
Yeah, I've heard that that's a big thing is the contracts.
absolutely. If you're basically signing that you understand that these are boundaries that you cannot cross. So, I mean, legally wise, I don't know what you could do with that, but I
I was
always think
just ask that.
I
But
always
honestly, even if it's just a peace of mind.
yeah, for it could be a peace of mind for a sub or a dom because there are subs that aren't true subs too. And they can take advantage of situations and stuff like that. But it's a topic that more people should talk about. And people just don't like to talk about it because it, like you said, is taboo, basically.
Yeah. Which is really sad because it's such a big part of most people's lives, but everyone's so scared to talk about it.
Yep. I
And
think we touched on that a little bit. And again, I think we should do an episode on that alone of why it is so taboo and, dig a little deeper into it.
I think that's a really good idea.
So I just saw this question that I had wrote down, and I think I know the answer to it, but why do books hit harder than movies/shows?
I love this question. For me, at least, I think it's the coming up with the scenes in your head. And I know that it might sound a little crazy, but like being able to picture it the way that your brain would like to envision it
Absolutely.
would like to be like if your brain almost puts you into that scene. So to be
Yeah,
able to read it, yeah, you get a lot more of the emotion, whereas on TV, you're just watching it play out. So you already, like, it's already made up.
Well, even like take 50 Shades of Grey because it was a book. They turned it into a movie. Never read the 50 Shades of Grey books. I don't know. But I've heard that there's a lot of detail that was in the books that didn't translate into the movie.
Yeah. And I can see that because it's like the way of reading something versus watching it is just two very different medias of which you consume.
Some of the books that we read, if they translated that to a movie or a show, like I don't think anybody would either A, pick it up, or B, if they did, it would be like, I don't know. I don't think it would be if they followed the book to the T. I don't think that it would
I'm gonna say two things on that.
say it.
Okay. The first one I said in the first episode, when I like books more than I like most movies and TV shows, right? And that is because either I am watching it play out like I am the FMC in the book, right? Or I am sitting in a fucking cuck chair and watching this whole shit go. Like,
Duck chair,
I
yes.
got my popcorn eyeballing this action, like I'm watching it play out in my head. I'm also neurospicy, so like I picture it in my head.
I was just going to say the same thing, like the ADHD of sitting there and watching a movie just doesn't tickle the brain the way a book does. And I think you said it perfectly. It's like you put yourself as the female main character or you're in the room with them.
Yep, absolutely. I'm like a little fly on the wall just watching it play out, even though I'm going to still use I'm going to always do that. Because do you know how spicy these books are? Of course, I'm in a cuck chair watching it play out. Okay. But the other topic to that is, well, I guess there's two topics to it. Normalized American TV, I do not believe can portray, like you said, aspects of books in regular TV. It would get demonetized and all that fun stuff, right?
Right.
But I also believe that normally people pick up books at a weird time in their life. There are people who like just read to read, but there are some books that grab your attention and you're like, I want to read this. And then it fucks you up because you are already in a fucked up place from either traumas or past experiences. And these fucking authors grab you by the goddamn throat and are like, hey, you're probably partially traumatized somewhat of some kind of relationship in your life. Let me just feed off of that and let's trigger some emotion out of you, right? You can't do that with a lot of TV shows because a lot of them don't portray certain scenarios the way that you are. Whereas authors can put it on paper, you can visualize it in your head, and sometimes you will be right back in a situation you did not want to be in.
That leans more into the emotional and mental connection to the books versus I think that there's been more connection in the books that I have read versus like movies, like the tear jerkers or like the clutch in your heart of like, oh my gosh, this sucks or, things like that versus movies or TV shows. Like, yeah, there are some that you can put yourself in, but it's it's easier to do it with a book. It's easier to emotionally connect with the characters and mentally connect with what's going on with them because you're reading I guess it's because you're reading it or you're listening to it versus watching something.
You are feeling those characters' emotions in you versus watching somebody else portray those emotions.
Yep.
You are physically having a reaction to what you are reading versus physically having a reaction to what you are seeing. Because either you're putting yourself in, like I said, you're putting yourself in the situation, or you are in your mind, you made this whole scene how you wanted it to look, like Nadine said, and you're like, that's not what I wanted to happen. That's not how this played
Yeah.
out.
And I think that's why so many people are so disappointed with book adaptations.
Absolutely.
Because it's like you built this scenario in your head and it's just not what comes across on the screen. And you're like, this is so disappointing. But the movie is just how someone else's brain portrayed it.
And they have
Or
to
like into the remakes of movies.
well,
Like you watch some remakes and you're like, dude, this isn't as good as the first one.
yeah.
As like you said, it's somebody's take on that script or with the way that movie should have been done the first time.
Well, I also think that there are books, like clearly you have to do a screenplay for a movie, right? That's kind of how that works. You have to do that whole
Right.
screenplay. You're taking stuff out of an actual book that you don't feel like is important and you are putting it into a movie, right? So Heated Rival, great example. If you haven't seen it, it's good. I haven't read the books, but I have heard nothing but good things that they have basically stuck to most of the book's portrayals. And that was the thing for the author is that if you're going to do it, you're going to stick to the majority of like what this book entails and how it makes you feel. Heated Rival, 6 episodes. Are you kidding me? Why did you just do that to me? Like, it's so good. But I will tell you, I'm an immersive reader. Joe Arden and Corbin King and Teddy Hamilton are like my people. Because Joe Arden does great. It's wonderful. But if they ever I would love to see a movie adaptation of Under Your Scars. But if they ever did it, I would be so severely disappointed because I cried so fucking hard with that book because of the emotional response you get from it and how it's playing out in my head.
I thought I saw this on TikTok and I did. Apparently somebody is trying to adapt Lights Out into a TV series for Netflix.
Nevessa Allen is. It is signed.
Is it?
Yeah, I saw that too. And I was going to bring this up, and I don't know if it's like this in other countries or whatever, but I feel like in the United States, movie people try and keep ratings good so that they can get the biggest audience, so that they can get the most money out of their project. And we lose some of the excitement because we've taken scenes out.
You lose some of the
Like,
quality of what you read.
do what?
I said you lose some of the quality of what you read.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So like the thing that comes to mind is like the Venom movie was supposed to be unrated because of all the scenes in it, but they took out like an hour of the movie to make it PG-13 or whatever it was,
Still one of my
so that they
favorites.
could sell more. And then you compromise the film, which worries me about Lights Out. Because are we going to lose some of the spicier stuff so that it's safer for Netflix?
Especially if Versus Allen's a part of it, I would hope that she wouldn't allow them to do that.
I'm going to say this for now. Heated Rival, if you have not seen it, literally the book is male hockey players, right? There is a lot of fucking spice in certain, like the whole show is not spicy. Like, that's like the common takeaway most guys are refusing to watch it for that I've seen online. The show itself, there's like maybe 20 minutes out of all 6 episodes, like combined. 20 minutes combined of male on male smut, including female on male smut, right? Maybe like 20 minutes. My problem is that HBO Max should have fucking picked up Lights Out, dude. They would have shown the fucking knife. If they don't show that fucking knife in a bed, I would be so pissed.
But here's the other side of that argument. HBO Max, I have beef with them of what they did to season 2 of The Last of Us. But I think that's another argument is like you take a piece of media like a book and then you change stuff to fit a different narrative and you've completely changed an entire character.
Absolutely. 100%. I think you're going to do that with any kind of adaptation, like movie, TV show adaptation from a book. Like, I think you're going to lose something no matter what, right? Like, I think that's just going to be the takeaway from it because, one, you're not experiencing the way that it's meant to be experienced, which is reading. That's the reason why it came out. Meant to be experienced in your own head, essentially. It just gets so, like, Edge of Darkness trilogy, really great. Love it. If they ever make that into a series, I'm probably going to be pissed because how good that book is and that series is, and they would mess it up, I would be mad. And that's the same for the Ravenhood series was in talks to make a movie. Kate Stewart, it's a great fucking series. Kind of emotional wreck in that one too. Am I going to be mad if it's done incorrectly as a movie? Absolutely. 100%. 1000%.
So then there's that argument of like, should we even be turning it into movies or turning something into a video game or turning a video game into a show? You know what I mean? Like a book into a movie, a book into a series.
Okay, I will say some of the video games that have been turned into series and things like movies and stuff, they do a great job. But I mean, you've pretty much got the script wrote for you because of the game, the storyline in the game.
Yeah.
But
I think video games are a little bit more easy to make adaptations. Though, if Call of Duty fucks up with my man Ghost right now, I'm gonna be so.
I'm waiting for this one.
They fucked that man up. I'm gonna be so mad
if they change his accent.
Hold on, what is Call of Duty doing?
They're making a movie.
They're making a movie. They haven't. I don't think they've said if it's gonna be Modern Warfare or just like Black Ops or whatever. But it better be Modern Warfare.
If I can see a live action Ghost, I'm going to cream my pants. I love him so much. That has like he is a chokehold in my life.
Hey, it's gonna be good.
I get it.
But
Peter Berg is directing it. He directed The Lone Survivor, and Taylor Sheridan is writing it.
But if they fuck up my boy Ghost, I'm gonna throw hands with some people.
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either, only because of the fact that Ghost is so readily popular now because of Call of Duty, but because, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but unfortunately BookTok, because Ghost is always going to be a hear me out for me. He's going to be like my number one, not my number one. Yeah. He's going to be in my top 3 favorite masked men, original masked men.
Yes.
But, so I don't think they're going to, like, severely fuck it up. But if they don't give him his goddamn accent, like Nadine said.
Because his accent is what makes him so good. And his attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is like a little brat tamer, and I just want to be his little brat.
I think they got to be careful with who they pick for all the characters in there. Because, like, you've got to pick somebody to play Soap right. You got to pick somebody to play, oh my God, what's his name?
Price?
Yes.
Soap?
Not Soap, Price. Yeah.
I want to say all the characters from the most modern Warfare were mocap. Yes. So I think they actually look like their voice actors.
So with that statement of us talking about this, the catch-22 to video games being adaptations is the fact that they have a reference of what this character will look like. Books, you have a reference of what the author wants them to look like. There is no physical reference of how they want this person to look, which is why I also think a lot of people get mad when books become adaptations, because it's not you're picturing in your head versus like playing Call of Duty. You have a visual representation of who is playing what.
So funny thing about that is, so when I first started listening to,
we veered way off.
I think it was Lights Out. Lights Out. When I was listening to her and listening to like the description and all that stuff, I looked up the person that was reading or narrating the book, and I was like,
Don't ever do that.
That's kind of what I envisioned.
Don't ever do that because Teddy Hamilton does not look like who you think he should look like.
See, and that's how I am. I saw one voice actor or one narrator, and I was like, nope.
It's probably Teddy Hamilton.
It ruins it. And it's almost the same argument as like when you see like fan art of certain characters, you'll see like, for instance, like you'll see Castile from Blood and Ash, and I'm like, that's not what he looks like in my head. I hate that version. I don't want to see that.
Alan did that with some of her special editions that she dropped. And I looked at one of them. I think it was Lights Out, like her Walmart one. And I was like, yep, that's not what I expected either one of them to look like.
So
Yeah.
the only type of art renditions of characters that I full on support looking at is the ones that authors commission artists to make, because the author is the one giving them the aspects and the ratios and how they're supposed to look. And 50-50 is like, well, I'll say like 70-30. It's usually how I picture it in my head, because when you're reading it, you get this picture. Does that mean I keep the picture in my head throughout the whole entire thing? No, but I get it.
I feel like it's hard too, because at least for me, once I have an image in my brain, it is so difficult to turn that image off.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like, whereas if you look up Joe Arden is he does not show his face because he doesn't want his face incorporated in any of the narrations, because he is such a visceral narrator that you feel everything. So like even when Joe Arden did Little Stranger and by Lee Rivers, the Web of Silence duet, Malachi is not deaf. Well, kind of deaf. Well, he's a mute. He was muted, like he went mute as a child by choice. So he does sign language. What Joe Arden did when he decided to voice his character for Malachi, because he's does sign language, he actually looked up how to say specific words and like how to do specific things in sign language and how it would come across.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he's really good. You would like Joe Arden as a voice actor.
But he did Butcher and Blackbird, right?
No, I think that was Corbin King and Morgan.
He did Butcher and Blackbird. I have no idea.
Morgan. Who did what? The fuck? Lights Out. Who was the voice actor? Hold on. Jacob Morgan is another one.
But no, yeah, Joe Arden was Butcher and Blackbird.
Yeah, I know. He did Ronan, didn't he?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. He's my man. I love listening to anything with him. Otto, I'm so
He did really good with that though too.
Well, he like I said, he's a visceral voice actor. So like, cause like Grimm is really good. It was written by him and DeeJay Krimmer, which is also another one that I recommend to everybody is DeeJay. But they did Grimm together, and it's like it's an experience to listen. You have like rain pelting down in the background because it's his book. Blue Nose Audio is him and his wife's company, Jordan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so back on track because we went way off course there. So, are some things better left in books, or can they translate into real life?
I think it depends. It truly depends on like the director and the author and how they can come together to bring it to life. But you still have the risk of it not being what the reader pictured in their own head.
Are we still talking about like adaptations, or are you talking about like real life?
I think real life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think we've established that most of the stuff that we do read can translate into real life as long as you communicate with your partner and make sure they're okay with being fucked by a femur bone.
Hey man, you never know, okay? Someone might have that.
I'm never one to yuck someone's yum, so.
Unless you're getting peed on or shit on.
Yeah, no, I'm good on that.
Yeah.
You just made me think.
I take it back.
When I said I have some set boundaries, those are some set boundaries that I have. Like, don't fucking pee on me. Like, don't. I should say, context-wise, don't pee on me in a literal sense. Like, if we're showering together and you happen to pee and, like, it lands on my foot, I'm not going to complain. I will yell at you, but I'm not going to complain. But don't, like, pee on me in the moment because that you think it's hot. Don't do that. That's gross. I want context that I'm, like, a weird girl, okay? Like, I'm not going to get mad over dumb shit.
We found Sydney's lines.
No, they've been set. You just never asked like that type. I'm being clarification. I will yuck that yum, but because it's not for me. But I'm not going to judge you. Like I don't judge people who have foot fetishes. If that's your thing, that's your thing. Like I personally know somebody who's a bull. If you know what that means he is the bull in a cuck relationship. He gets called upon to be the bull. So like, I'm not gonna literally, if it's not for me, I'm not gonna yuck your yum, but I will tell you that I have questions, but I'm not judging you kind of thing.
Right.
I think that's a fair way to explain it.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like what I mean when I say I'm not going to yuck your yum.
Yeah, I'm not gonna judge you for it because that's you, do you. But
Right.
be prepared if you tell me I'm gonna have 50 million questions so I can understand your kink better.
Makes sense. All right. So rapid fire. Y'all ready for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's called Spicy Segment. This
Ooh.
unlocks something. Okay. So possessive energy.
In what context?
The book. You read something in a book. You read something possessive energy. Did it unlock something in you, or
It was already there.
was it already unlocked? Sydney, something had you didn't just wake up. You just didn't wake up at 16 and go, "I want to be a brat. I want to be a sub."
I've been a brat my whole entire life. My mom is a
I'm
sarcastic
sure you
lady,
have.
and
You
I'm
are
a sarcastic lady. When I realized that I could get punished okayly and corrected behavior okayly instead of parental trauma dumping, but like I said before, for legal purposes, I was not under the age of 18. Okay.
Fair.
okay. So, or
'Cause
Nadine.
I would say unlock something in me because I don't think I was that. Yeah, I would say before reading books, I'd say I'm very much more into possessiveness now.
Same for me. At that I got unlocked in Butcher and Blackbird for possessive energy.
Because it's, again, I don't think it's something a lot of people think about until you start reading.
No. I guess you don't realize that you have a possessive kink because until you read a book and you're like, oh, that's a kink. I did not know that.
Yeah. Or it didn't register to you. You weren't like, oh, okay,
Right.
this is what I'm into.
But also context, you also weren't put in a situation where you had to do a possessive situation. You weren't put in a situation where you had to be in a possessive spot.
So I can say that I have, but it wasn't.
Well, book writes it.
No. So I have been put in that situation, but I guess the feel like the situation that I've told you about with the guy at the gas station with me, where I was like, "Today's the day, motherfucker." Like I've had other people, look at girls and my girlfriends in the past. Hell, take my girlfriends from me in the past, and the possessive energy wasn't. Possessive part of me wasn't there. I think it was because I did not have the feelings that I have now. And I'm way more mature than I am now. It's like
Or hear me out. Could it be a determining factor that you're with somebody who you genuinely love?
Oh.
exactly, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like I said, I didn't have the feelings for those people that I do for my wife.
That means that you've always had the possessiveness trait in you. You just realized in books, not that you're a possessive person and you have a possessive kink, that you are actually with somebody who you could go to those levels for. Because in hindsight, you could have read the same thing back then and still thought the same thing when you were a teenager, right? Same
Right.
situation. You could have read the same kind of book, been in the same situation, and you had been like, yeah, I'm obsessed with that person. And now that you're older reading, you just happen to realize that those weren't the situations that I needed to be possessive in because they don't mean the same to you.
I think a level of maturity takes place in that too.
Absolutely. Nobody under 18 should be reading any fucking dark romance book or romance book.
Absolutely
please.
not.
And if they are, the parent needs to go through and tape those motherfucking pages.
It's the same argument of your child shouldn't be watching certain things. You wouldn't allow them to read certain things either.
Yeah. That's why I hate people, talking about, oh, well, this book needs to come out of the library. This book needs to come out of the library. This book needs to come out of a library.
No, the parent should be you should be
Just
watching
like
what your
with the phone.
child's getting out of the library.
Ooh,
Just like with phones.
this is a fun story. So one of my niece, 15, my sister found Haunting Adeline that her and her friends were reading. So of course my sister quickly grabbed that shit up. But I was like, she should be reading fucking Fahrenheit 451 Because
Yeah.
if you want to read a fucking band book, go for that. Like, you want to read something a little edgy, go for that. Go for Slaughterhouse-5. Jesus Christ. Like, you want to read something edgy.
There's
She went
also the
full
argument,
in.
though, too, that's like, why did the librarian or why did the bookstore cashier or whatever
Context, I think it was probably her friend's, like, mom.
That's
And
fair.
her friend took it. Like, I think that's kind of the situation that it played out. If it was her friend's book or they were reading it together or whatever, but I think that that's the context that was in. But still, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. You got to pay attention. Like,
If there are certain books on your bookshelf and you have kids who have TikTok and access to social media, you should be putting something in place where you can see if that book has A, been moved, B, just put it in a different room, like your bedroom.
Yeah. That's a whole nother conversation that would be good for a podcast, is the accessibility of like book talk and how much certain spicy books are talked about on there when it's a 13 plus app.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because I've seen some TikToks. We can talk about spicy books. I don't think we need to be talking about chapters
Yeah. Like
on an app.
Like, the context of Haunting Adeline and just mentioning, if you know the gun scene, I think that's acceptable, right? You're not going into
Yes,
detail.
100%.
But when somebody's doing like a review on the book and they're like, so that gun scene, or like on Lights Out, where they stab the knife in the mattress,
yeah.
why are we talking about that on a social media app?
Well, the other thing I
Exactly. I've
feel
seen like
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I've seen on TikTok someone literally saying that he fucked her with the gun, and I'm like, what are we doing?
But they don't want to say
This is
rape
why we get a bad
on
name.
But they don't want
Like,
Yeah.
social media. I would rather you openly talk about fucking sexual assault and rape, because that needs to be talked about in this day and age, than you talking about a fucking book where you have problems with Haunting Adeline because it borderline doesn't consent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Say the word. Just because
Yeah.
you're going to get demonetized? Wow. Say the fucking word. It's a topic that needs to be discussed, not this little book, like the problem you have with the book.
Yeah. That falls under the whole, it's taboo, no one wants to talk about it. It needs to be talked
right,
about.
absolutely.
I will stand toes yell on that fucking hill that sexual assault and rape needs to be more talked about and readily available with information.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think why people like listening to us the most is because
I don't have a
we just
filter.
we just segue off of one thing and just go into other stuff, and we have fun with it.
That's how my brain works. I'm sorry.
So I
Imagine
know.
living
Oh my
in
gosh,
my
we got so far away from the quick
Yeah, we
fire.
did, didn't we?
Imagine living in my headspace all day.
Hey.
So so
If it's done correctly, it's good.
I'm into it. I'm freaking into it. Like, I feel like the Butcher and Blackbird, Leather and Lark,
The long play bears.
huh?
Their long play.
Yes, I loved it. Like, and then you jump, like, again, going back to Speak, you jump into Speak, and it's like bam, 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 bam. There's like no slow tension in it at all. And then even what's the one I'm reading now? One Killer Night.
So good.
It is. It's great. I love it. But I was expecting it to be more of like that slow burn tension, but it wasn't. It was like I literally like I'd fallen asleep listening to it, and I woke up and they were getting it on in the book. I'm like, wow, okay. And it was only like 5 minutes into the book, or 5 minutes that I missed.
You should never expect me to give you books that sound like other books. I know I like dark rom-com, and that's what I'm going to give you, but you should never expect it to sound like another book. Never.
So
I think it definitely depends on if it's done right or not.
Yeah, because when they put miscommunication with a slow burn, I get fucking pissed.
Yeah. I hate miscommunication.
Context, DJ, if you don't know what that is, it's basically when they just don't talk about their fucking problems.
Yeah.
It's like, I need to tell them. I need to tell them. I need to tell them. Like, this happened,
And then if
I need to tell them.
Yeah. And then if it's done like over and over and over again, and that's your way of pulling out a slow burn, I'm getting bored.
Yep.
yeah,
If slow burn is done correctly, where there's the good banter, the little kikis that they like to do on the side, the occasional hookups, that's cute. Done correctly. If there's there's something going on and I'm just not going to tell them right now, that's fine. That's fine. If your whole book is miscommunication that is slow burn, then I want to fucking murder myself.
Yeah.
Please don't murder yourself. So touch her and die energy.
Oh,
I'm down.
Love. Love, love, love.
touch him and die, I'm down. I love a psychotic female in a book, okay?
I haven't.
I don't think I've
I guess
experienced.
I have.
I mean, any of your FMCs that are mutually serial killers are kind of crazy over their partners, which is a touch them and die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easiest one for that one would be like Butcher and Blackbird. Salome
Yeah.
is a you fuck with him, I'm gonna murder you type of situation.
Yeah. Yes, she is.
That's the only one I can think of for dark rom-com for you.
So in real life and in books, we're down for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. Jealousy.
I thought this was an awakening thing.
It is. It is.
Did jealousy
Again,
awaken anything
in
in
jealousy
you?
in a book, was it something that you were like, "Okay, I'm into this," or did you know beforehand?
Hated jealousy beforehand, and jealousy in a book is okay. Like, it doesn't bother me, but when it's done correctly, like, I think everything is when it's
Like a
done
controlled
correctly.
jealousy, not a toxic
Mm.
jealousy.
Yeah, if it's, like, okay jealousy, not, like, the toxic kind from, like, narcissists and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
like that, but if it's okay jealousy, I'm okay with it in books. Did it awaken anything in me? No. And that's strictly because, like last episode, I prefer territorial over jealousy in my personal.
That would be more of a controlled jealousy type of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to agree with that.
And last one, and I left this for no, I haven't done praise. I know I haven't because I wanted to save it for last. So praise, good girl, good boy dynamics.
My favorite. It didn't awaken it, but it will always be hands down
Mhm.
my fucking favorite shit. Give me an Atta Girl. That's my girl. Atta Girl, man, does it for me. I don't know what it is. Like, Good Girl does great.
Mhm.
Hits the mark where it needs to hit, but give me a That's My Girl or Atta Girl.
Mhm.
I like saying it. I'm not gonna lie.
It does something. I don't know. It hits different than Good Girl. Like, if Miranda
Mm.
came at you with an attaboy,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'd feel like
until you try it, it might make you tingle a little bit.
No, you're getting me. Like I'm thinking of
Hits.
Lark, where she gold stars everybody.
I gold star everybody. What the fuck are you saying?
I'm just imagining like Miranda going and sticking a gold star. That's a good boy.
I kind of feel a little called out because I have a whole thing of stars. Okay, they're not just gold. There are other colors, but I kind of feel called out.
You get a bronze participation medal tonight.
That's a new one. I like it. That would be fun.
There was a comedian that talks about that. I think it's Brad Williams, and he's talking about communication in the bedroom. He's like, ladies, you got to let us know that we're doing a good job. He's like, get you some stickers, put a gold star on there like they do on the football helmets.
Oh my
Get a
gosh.
silver one, get a purple one for, participation. You weren't top game tonight, but you were here. You showed up.
So speaking of stars, this is gonna be another tangent because you just sparked something in me. Blue collar workers are my favorite, hands down. Blue collar men are my favorite to fuck with because they're just big kids, right? And yeah,
I think they're
you
big kids.
you are a big kid, okay? Because you are technically a blue collar worker. I don't care what you say.
That's so funny too, because I sent that TikTok to Gavin and I was like, you need to get stars for work and start handing them out
so you know what
because
I'm
he's in
talking about.
construction.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. So my spouse also is in collar work, right? And I was like, I will write you a fucking policy to give to your managers and your bosses so you can start giving your crews correct stars through the day. I said, watch their productivity go up. Okay. I was like,
Mhm.
a grown ass man will be so excited at a Friday gathering to get their stars placed on them because the other ones are just going to dog
Exactly.
the
Like
shit
on your
out.
hard hat.
The other ones are going to dog the shit out of them if they got anything less than a gold star.
You're not wrong, but that's pretty good though.
I think gold stars for blue collar worker are a good boy for blue collar worker or an attaboy for blue collar worker.
Just hit different though.
They do.
My wife has a different way of showing me that she loves me. She goes around and passes out pig stickers and donut stickers and have people give them to me.
That's great. I love that.
That's so funny.
Hands down is the best thing.
She did that this past Sunday at church. She walked around handing everybody that knew me a bunch of pig stickers, and some of them didn't even understand the whole concept of it. But they were literally going out of their way to find me to give me pig stickers.
Oh, I would have lied. I would have
That's so
been
funny.
rolling. I would have been rolling on the floor laughing so hard. That is great. I love
I even tried to hide to avoid them, and they came and found me.
Oh my gosh.
You wanna know a trick that Miranda will be super mad that I tell you?
What?
Just start accepting them, don't get embarrassed by them. As
Oh, I do. I do now.
as a brat as a brat, that is the one thing we want that reaction. You don't give it, we get disappointed, and then we have to come up with something new.
People were starting to dig in their pockets. I just held my hand out like, "Thank you." It's a lot of fun, though. Alright, ladies, well, I think that's gonna do it for us on this episode.
No, it's not. I have a question for Nadine.
Oh, Lord, what's
Ooh.
So, he didn't do this last time, and I feel like anybody that we comes on this should be asked it for you, since the podcast name is what, DJ?
Love Stories Beyond the Pages.
What does it mean to you?
Love story beyond the pages. To me, I think it's the world in which you build these stories from the books. So, kind of like how we were saying earlier, like you build this idea and these characters and how they look and how the world looks in your head. And to me, I think that's what beyond the pages means to me is like you have created this whole world from this book in your head.
Do you do you take concepts from books and implement them in your real world?
I didn't think about it like that. Dang.
At you with the left hook.
I know. I wasn't ready for that one. I would say yes.
Like different traits
Definitely
and
some
different
of
aspects.
definitely. So I think kind of how you said everyone kind of gets into reading when they're in a darkerish place. My
Besides DJ.
my last relationship
Right.
before my fiance, very toxic, very abusive. And then you start reading and you see how these relationships are. And growing up, I didn't have the greatest outlook on
Influencer?
relationships. Yeah, influence of relationships.
Neither did I,
So,
girl.
yeah.
Makes
So you
3 of
grow
us.
up and you're like, okay, there's fighting, there's arguing, there's like
I expect that.
tension. Yeah. And you get into it and you're like, that's not love.
Normal.
That's not normal.
That's not how I'm
So
supposed to be
definitely,
treated.
yes. And thinking about it now, it definitely shifted my mindset because after that relationship and after I processed it, and reading became really huge after that, to not trauma dump, but the relationship ended with that person passing away. So there was a lot of trauma on multiple ends from that. So once you kind of like get into reading and it becomes your outlet, I I definitely saw my self-worth and, like, once I started dating again, I was like, "This isn't gonna work for me, this isn't gonna work." I became more picky.
So, would you say that reading has helped establish some boundaries, whether emotional, physical, intimate?
Yes, 100%. I would say especially, like, my self-worth and what I deserve definitely helped a whole lot.
See, I'm good at this hosting thing, DJ.
Okay. You're doing a good job.
Let me hear it.
Good girl.
I was gonna go for the attic girl, but that's fine too. Okay, now I think we're done. I got to ask my
Are you
question.
Alright, ladies.
Goodbye.
It was
Bye.
fun as
If today's episode made you blush, rethink a chapter of your own love story, or add a few dangerously good titles to your TBR, go ahead and hit follow, subscribe, and share Bound by Book love stories beyond the pages with someone who can handle a little heat. If you have any questions you want answered or are curious about a certain spicy topic, feel free to send us an email at boundbybooksbc@gmail.com and put in the subject line questions for podcasts. Until next time, keep it curious, keep it bold, and remember, the real magic happens when the story leaves the pages.